Imagine reading a flawless, deeply insightful essay by a student who usually, struggles to string a basic sentence together.
Right, it happens all the time now,
Yeah, and the most pressing question for the teacher isn't what grade to give it. It's whether a human being actually wrote a single word of it.
which is wild to think about.
It really is. So, welcome to your custom deep dive. Today, our mission is exploring a fascinating source on the dual nature of AI in the modern classroom. Is this technology an educational savior, or is it the ultimate crutch?
That is the big debate right now.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we can't just look at this as the calculator for English class. I mean, that comparison misses the mark completely.
Oh, absolutely. It's a brand new paradigm for how the human brain interacts with information. We're dealing with systems that actively mediate the learning process.
Right, so it's not just crunching numbers.
Exactly. The fundamental shift here isn't computation, it's algorithmic scaffolding. You see educators rushing to adopt these platforms because the AI mimics what psychologists call the zone of proximal development.
The zone of what?
Proximal development.
Right.
Basically, if the system detects a student struggling with, say, Spanish conjugations, it dynamically dials back the complexity. It keeps them engaged without getting frustrated.
Oh, wow. And if they're doing well?
If they're breezing through calculus, it ramps up the friction to keep them in a state of flow.
So it's essentially acting like a cognitive spotter at the gym for every single desk, just, adjusting the weights in real time.
That is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And obviously, the immediate benefit is that it removes the logistical nightmare of teaching to a room of 30 vastly different skill levels.
Yeah, that sounds impossible anyway.
It offloads the mechanical tasks, grading, grammar checks, structuring daily schedules. And what's fascinating here is the potential shift in the teacher's role. Well, in theory, by outsourcing the purely mechanical aspects of instruction, teachers suddenly have the cognitive bandwidth to focus on real communication. They can foster creativity and provide targeted emotional support.
I mean, I have to push back on that in theory part, though.
Fair enough.
Are we actually seeing teachers freed up to provide more emotional support? Or is this just going to be used as an administrative excuse to pack 40 or 50 kids into a classroom just because the AI is supposedly handling the personalized instruction?
Yeah, that is the exact tension the source highlights. When you make learning frictionless, you invite a host of secondary problems.
Like what?
Well, the primary danger isn't just inflated class sizes, it's cognitive atrophy.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Are we crossing the line from personalized learning into just outsourcing our critical thinking entirely?
That's the fear. When the AI seamlessly removes the friction by generating an essay or structuring an argument, the student bypasses the productive struggle required to actually form neural pathways.
It's akin to taking a helicopter to the top of a mountain and claiming you climbed it. Sure, you get the view, but your cognitive muscles haven't grown an inch.
Exactly. And this raises an important question about how we even measure growth anymore. The source outlines a massive assessment crisis right now.
Because of the cheating.
Right. Teachers simply cannot evaluate a student's real abilities when the output might be entirely synthetic. To counter this, schools are having to completely reverse engineer their policies.
Wait, like going back to the dark ages.
Basically, shifting heavily back to oral exams or forcing students to write essays by hand, in class, on paper, just to prove the knowledge actually exists in their head.
You might be listening to this thinking, well, if the AI can do the writing in the real world, why do students need to learn how to do it anyway?
Which is a really common argument.
Yeah, and that brings us to the equity issue. Because the digital divide isn't just about who has high-speed Wi-Fi anymore. It's about who gets the algorithmic advantage. If rural and low-income students are left out of this ecosystem, they aren't just lacking a tool. They're being entirely shut out of the new socioeconomic language of productivity.
And the stakes are incredibly high. But the consensus from the data suggests that banning these tools is just a fool's errand.
Right, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Exactly. The focus has to shift toward teaching responsible integration. Using the AI to critique a student's original argument, for instance, rather than generating the argument for them.
It's about leveraging the tool to enhance human cognition, not replace it.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean? I guess the key is balancing that personalized support while fiercely preserving independent thought.
Yeah, that's the tightrope we're walking.
But I want to leave you with a thought-provoking concept, building directly on what we've just explored. If AI systems are increasingly being used by students to generate and write their essays, And AI systems are simultaneously being used by teachers to evaluate and grade those essays. Are we approaching a bizarre future where machines are just talking to machines, leaving the human mind entirely out of the loop? It really makes you wonder if that new educational paradigm might eventually not need us at all.